Imagine walking into an elite apartment in the heart of London. In the bathroom, you find a large sports bag. It is locked with a padlock. From the outside, you cut through the fabric. Inside is the body of a naked man in a fetal position. No signs of a struggle. No fingerprints. No traces of DNA on the lock or the zipper. But the key to that lock lies inside the bag, underneath the body. The police officially called it a tragic accident. They said he did it to himself. But one expert tried to replicate this accident 400 times and failed every single time. Science says it is physically impossible. So who did it? And why was the state so desperate to make us believe a lie? This is Gareth Williams. At the time of his death in August 2010, he was 31 years old. When we hear the words British intelligence or MI6, popular culture immediately conjures images of James Bond, an agent in a tuxedo, Aston Martin chases, gunfire, and explosions. But the real world of modern espionage looks very different. It isn't built on adrenaline, it is built on information. And it is built by people like Gareth. He wasn't a field agent. He was a mathematical genius. A quiet, deeply introverted man who entered university to study mathematics at an age when most children are just finishing primary school. His mind operated on a different frequency. Those who knew him described him as still waters hiding incredible depth. His official place of work was GCHQ, Government Communications Headquarters, the British intelligence agency responsible for signals, intelligence, and cybersecurity. Gareth's specialty: decryption, cracking the world's most complex cryptographic codes, tracking the hidden, almost invisible financial flows used by international terrorist organizations, organized crime, and hostile states. At the time of his death, he was seconded to M16 headquarters at London's Vauxhall Cross. He was performing work that no one was ever supposed to know about. Work that didn't exist in any public register. Gareth Williams was a man who saw the digital shadows of the world. He understood risk better than anyone because his entire career was based on its precise calculation. In his spare time, he was a long-distance cycling enthusiast and a fan of high fashion. This surprised his colleagues. A quiet mathematician with a wardrobe worth thousands of pounds. His life was extremely structured. Every action, every purchase, every route was deliberate. He was not a man prone to reckless, chaotic behavior. To understand what truly happened in his top-floor apartment in the prestigious district of Pimlico, we must cast aside tabloid sensations. We need only the cold, documented facts, step by step. On August 23, 2010, Gareth's intelligence colleagues raised the alarm. He hadn't shown up for work in over a week. No message, no call. For a man of his clearance level and personal discipline, this was not just strange. It was catastrophically out of character. Police arrived at his home on Alderney Street to perform a welfare check. When officers forced the front door open, the first thing that hit them was a stifling, artificial heat. It was late August, a warm British summer day. But inside the apartment, every radiator was turned up to the absolute maximum. Every single one. The apartment had been turned into an oven. This was no accident. In forensic science, creating such a deliberate microclimate serves only one logical purpose. Extreme heat radically accelerates tissue decomposition. Why do this? To destroy evidence. Heat breaks down toxicological traces, poisons, sedatives, any chemical substance that could reveal how a person died. It also blurs the exact time of death to the point where it stops being a fact and becomes a mere guess. Whoever turned those thermostats that night understood exactly how forensic pathology works. They didn't panic. They acted methodically. They were buying time. And yet, despite the stifling heat, the apartment itself was spotless. No overturned objects, no broken glass, no signs of a struggle anywhere. All of Gareth's possessions were neatly arranged. The front door was securely locked from the outside with a key. The apartment wasn't just clean, it was sterile, surgically sterile, like a set that had been carefully staged and then scrubbed clean. The police headed to the ensuite bathroom. There, on the white enamel of the bathtub, lay a large red North Face sports bag. It was completely zipped shut. Outside, joining the two metal sliders, hung a small brass padlock. It was tightly fastened. When experts carefully cut open the fabric of the bag, they found Gareth Williams' body inside. He was naked. His body was in a fetal position, and the key to that very padlock lay inside the bag, pressed under his body. Stop for a moment. Think about the pure mechanics of this process. When the police initially suggested Gareth might have done this to himself, perhaps some inexplicable personal experiment, or an erotic asphyxiation gone wrong, the official investigation brought in a professional escapologist, an expert in exactly these kinds of tricks, escaping from locked spaces in the style of Houdini. He was given the exact same model of bag and one task: get inside and lock yourself in. He tried over 400 times. He pulled at the zipper from the inside, bruising and cutting his fingers on the metal. But every attempt hit the same insurmountable wall of basic biomechanics. Even if by some miracle you managed to bring both sliders together above your head in that cramped, suffocating space, you must simultaneously thread the steel shackle of the lock through two tiny metal eyelets, blindly, at an impossible angle, through thick, compressing fabric, while running out of air. 400 attempts, 0 success. The expert officially testified under oath. To lock this bag from the inside without leaving any physical evidence of damage or forced manipulation is not just difficult. It is physically impossible. But the most terrifying detail of this case wasn't hidden inside the bag. It was hidden on the surface, on the zipper, on the lock, on the edge of the tub. On none of these surfaces were there any fingerprints from Gareth Williams. In fact, there were no fingerprints at all. Think about what that means in reality. You are suffocating inside a dark, constricting bag. Every muscle in your body is fighting the fabric. Your hands are gripping metal, pulling, pushing, twisting. You are sweating. Your skin is shedding microscopic cells onto every surface it touches. You physically cannot avoid leaving your biological signature on that metal. But the lock was perfectly clean, as was the edge of the bathtub beneath it. Not a drop of sweat, not a single hair, not a microscopic trace of skin. The bathtub showed no evidence that any human body had ever voluntarily climbed into it. It looked as though the red bag, already zipped, already locked, with the body already inside, had simply been carried into that bathroom and placed there by someone wearing gloves, someone who knew exactly what they were doing, someone who had enough time to wipe away every biological trace. Today, every one of us leaves a continuous digital footprint. An intelligence officer working at the highest level of secrecy leaves hundreds. On Gareth's kitchen table, his mobile phones and SIM cards were laid out neatly, almost ceremonially. Police discovered that all data had been wiped. Not just deleted, expertly, completely destroyed at a professional level. Forensic recovery teams, using advanced equipment, could retrieve nothing. The encrypted flash drives, which colleagues and family confirmed he always carried as a matter of professional habit, had simply vanished. Someone came not just to kill a man, but to kill his digital memory. And then there is the detail that stops every serious investigator in their tracks. Gareth's apartment was located a short distance from MY6 headquarters. The surrounding streets were covered by a network of high-security government CCTV cameras. These are cameras that operate continuously, are maintained and monitored by the state, and are specifically designed never to fail. When investigators officially requested the CCTV footage for the week Gareth disappeared, they were told of an unprecedented technical failure. Not a single government camera in the area had captured any useful footage during that period. Not one. The recordings simply did not exist. They had been erased or turned off. A state codebreaker living near the headquarters of British Foreign Intelligence had simultaneously disappeared from all cameras. Gareth Williams had been erased from the digital world, even before his body was found. Here we have reached the very heart of this story, the core of the paradox. Perfect locked room mysteries don't happen in real life. They don't occur by accident. They don't appear through coincidence. To sterilize an apartment of all biological traces, to manipulate the heating system with forensic precision, to destroy an intelligence officer's devices at a level that surpassed state recovery teams, to neutralize an entire network of government CCTV cameras, and most importantly, to place a man's body in a locked bag, leaving not a single fingerprint, hair, or cell of biological evidence, and walk away unnoticed. This is not an accident. This is not negligence. This is not a sex game gone wrong. This is a coordinated operation carried out by specialists who understood forensics, surveillance, and digital security at the highest possible level. This is an operation carried out with the blessing, or at least the silent consent, of the state. The first official coroner appointed to the case, Dr. Fiona Wilcox, after a thorough review of all evidence, reached a clear legal conclusion. In 2012, she officially stated that a third party was responsible for the death of Gareth Williams. Science demanded it. Logic demanded it. This evidence left no other honest interpretation. But 3 years later, the London Metropolitan Police issued their final public statement. They closed the case. Despite the coroner's conclusion, despite the laws of physics, their official conclusion, Gareth Williams most likely accidentally locked himself in the bag. No third party, no further investigation. Case closed. The climax of this story is not just the death of a brilliant man. It is the moment you realize that the crime scene was not an accident and not just a cover-up. It was a performance, a deliberate, flawlessly choreographed demonstration of power, a message delivered in the language of the impossible, sent to anyone who was watching closely enough to read it. Those who did this wanted the world to see. They could enter the home of a state intelligence officer, defy the documented laws of physics, leave an unsolved riddle in plain sight, and walk away, knowing that the official state machine would quietly and obediently close its eyes. When the impossible becomes the official truth, we know that someone is lying. The mathematics of this case don't add up. The absence of evidence on the lock, in the tub, on the cameras, is not a gap in the record. It is the record. It is the most accurate evidence we have. It is proof of an invisible force that has the power to manipulate reality. The lock was fastened from the outside. Someone's hands held it that night, and those hands belong to someone who stands above the law. We have laid everything out for you. The documents are on the table. The facts have been presented plainly, without embellishment. What do you believe actually happened in that Pimlico apartment in August 2010? Was it a foreign intelligence operation, a warning delivered to British intelligence through one of their own? The theory of a Russian trail never went away, given Gareth's work tracking finances. Or was it something colder, a cleanup from within the system itself, removing a man who saw too much, calculated too accurately, and understood things he was never meant to know? Leave your analysis in the comments. Let's see what we can decode together, that which the official record refuses to acknowledge. Your opinion matters, because as long as we remember and ask questions, they cannot completely erase the truth. Thank you for being here today. Don't believe everything you're told. Stay observant, because a room might seem empty, but someone is always watching.